Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? So this is a bit of a blast from the past, isn't it? Okay, welcome to Fallout 4. So it has been quite a while since I last played this game. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it may have been since before 76 came out. So I saw this recently being streamed, so I got the kind of nostalgia bug going there. So I thought, you know what, let's jump in, play a little bit of it on the old PS4, which is where we are here. My plan was to basically not do very much building, if anything at all, and just keep it to bare minimum and focus on the regular gameplay, the rest of the gameplay. Clearly this did not happen. So here we are at Red Rocket Truck Stop, which is kind of my northern base. We'll see what happens on down the line as to whether or not I set any other up. But this is what we've got for now. As you see, it's spiraled way beyond what I had in mind. It's a relatively standard type of build. It's somewhat similar to things I've done in the past, and know others have done similar sorts of things. Walling off Red Rocket is a fairly standard approach, so it is what it is. But I think my stamp is fairly clear on it. For those who are curious, yes, it is on PS4. There are mods heavily used in this, particularly settlement building ones. If you would like to find the list, it is down in the description. It's the same old mod list I used to use in Fallout 4. As to exactly what items are in what mods, you're gonna have to work that one out yourselves, I'm afraid. I cannot remember for the life of me anymore. If there's something distinct that I can remember, I might point it out, but we'll see. The main ones being USO, Unlock Settlement Objects, which has a lot of the stuff in it, and there are a few junk wall mods, a few other bits and pieces like that, all of which are on the list, so best of luck, I suppose. So, let's take a little look around this place. So the idea was just to sort of fortify it up, see how it goes, and basically make a fortified northern compound out the Red Rocket, and yeah, pretty happy with how it looks. We've gone heavy into the junk walls, plenty of guard posts. I've avoided turrets for this one, but some intense guard post work going on. I'm not going to go all the way around the outside because, yep, will take forever. So we mostly got large objects and then smaller sections of guard post and junk wall from the various mods just to block the gaps up and to dress it up a little bit. So we've got that massive bus, but we've also got a few other bits and pieces. This container here is just the container dropped in with a few bits built on the top of it, for example. All this cluster with the traffic light there and the bits and pieces in front of it, most of that is a single item from one of the mods. As is this Nuka-Cola billboard section of wall there. Loads and loads of stuff going on there. A couple of guard posts, just in case we get attacked. A decently solid front gate. They're not hanging out here right now, but I've basically got robots set up as guards on this place from Automatron, because I've got all the DLCs installed as well. So a few bits and pieces from there involved as well. Apologies, the frame rate is not 100%, but that's Fallout 4 on the PS4 for you. Hop over here and have a little look around this side. Well, we will if I can get over. There we go. Got a few extra bits and pieces tucked in just to add large chunks of defenses there. There we go, there's a robot on guard. Guards are in red. I was going to have Mr. Handy set up as farmers, but that did not happen yet. I'll have a look at my farm in a bit. The power on top, I realise, is not technically practical and probably wouldn't work all that well, but limited space and I didn't want anything too noisy, so that was what I went with. Looks alright though, on a purely visual standpoint. There we go. A few guard posts set up on this side as well, because this is quite a common place to get attacked from. Our guard's gone off and visiting another guard post. We'll swing back around and have a look inside. So some of these sections of junk walls are just put in item by item manually. Others, like this one here, is from one of the mods, and it's sort of a prefab one, this sort of little lower section here in front of us. And it's all in one piece, so I can kind of do larger blocks in one go there, rather than have to rug and pillar glitch in too much sort of item by item, which is always nice to speed things along a little bit. Have a little look inside. Most of this is done using rug glitch, pillar glitch. That's not the right button at all. There we go. Yeah, most of it's done using rug glitch and pillar glitch, but there's a little bit of place anywhere used as well. But there we go. Little look around. keep this nice and steady for you. This chap is floating a little high for his guard post, but I didn't want the noise of legs or treads or anything like that, so they're all on Mr. Handy thrusters. Plus they're a bit smaller that way as well. So I think we'll go around sort of clockwise. And then we'll take a look at the centre afterwards. So if we have a look at the gate, see the guard posts on the either side there. There's some extra bits added on just for some decoration. Got a nice little walkway up here, so that our robot can get up there. He does sometimes path up here, sometimes he decides not to. Just depends what mood the robot's in, really. Come up here, a couple of little bits and pieces just plonked down. These are modded items as well, sort of pre-decorated, so I didn't have to do too much. Makes life a bit easier. I've not gone too heavy on the junk decoration. I've got a few items that kind of do some of the work for you rather than manually placing too much, which is always helpful. I mean, I spent long enough on this as it was, didn't really need to be decorating every tiny little surface in detail on my own. We've done that before. So we've got a few shops lining the inside of the wall. Vault-Tec rep hanging out here. This is my general trader, so it makes sense to have him in there, I think. A few bits and pieces on the wall, just dead simple foundation shack with a couple of bits on it and a roof over the top. Throw some shelves and decorations in there, and there we have a little store for him. See, that table is just about the right height there. So we've got a little mat underneath. That mat is actually the vendor station that he's standing on. Again, that mod's doing good work there. Some of the tyres knocking around are ones that were already here that I've used. A make static mod, actually it's my place anywhere mod, has a make static function. So that they won't fly around. Some, like this one, are a tyre wall that are placed in manually. We've got somebody coming in. Hello there. Fortunately, I've turned the voices off so he's not yelling at me here. Let's have a little look at this guard post he's trying to get at first. Yep, we go. Very, very simple. Loads of sandbags. Just give him a bit of cover. Extra ammunition and stuff. This is quite a common angle to get attacked from as well, which is why I put guard post here. They do like to spawn on that hill there. Well, I tried to leave some of the existing debris and decor in there, but not too much of it. So like these trees are still here, and I cleared out a lot of stuff on the floor, but not all of it. We used scrap anything, or to that effect, I forget what the exact name is. So, random truck added in. This one's actually an interactable object that people can come up and repair if they're not busy doing their jobs, which they should be at this time of day. So coming along here, we've got a couple more shops. We've got a gun shop and an armour shop. These guys in here dressed up appropriately for it. So step up to the counter, you can see. Some weapons on display on the back there. And all these shelves are sort of pre-decorated from some of the mods I've got, so you can just drop them in. It looks good and is a lot less time-consuming than doing things the slow, steady by hand route, and then making each individual thing static. So, a few signs to dictate gun. Well, we've got one for the gun shop there, but not for other stuff, so that's always a little disappointing. Here's our armour shop. Basically the same principle again. Just about see the join in the two counters there. Again, they're all standing on rugs to make things a bit more interesting. But all the right height, as you can see from the way she's leaning on it. Which is cool. A few bits of armour in the back there. Use some mannequins, soon to be appearing in Fallout 76, this. Basically, they'll look much the same as this, I think. Bits of pieces on the shelf down there. She's having a natter, but fortunately we can't hear her. Little barrel out front, bit of fire. Ooh, I didn't notice those stairs were floating. Whoops. So most of the vendors we've seen so far, I think, live in here. I've allocated everybody to their own beds. Again, not heavy on the junk decoration in here. It's a bit awkward in the buses sometimes anyway. But they've got what they need for a place to kip. Just hope nobody lobs a grenade through the window. I'm sure they'll be fine. I did once board one of these buses up, sort of by hand, but, my God, that's a time-consuming procedure. So, I chose not to do it for this one. Little seating area there, just to... add a bit of decoration, bit of something to the area. We have our mega surgery clinic. So this was one of the last places I got populated because getting a doctor took some time, and then the settler didn't want to cooperate. So we've got that done now, though. So in the door, head on in. Small and simple, with a nice sort of metal surfaces because it's kind of a bit more clinical. Some decoration down here as well. Get another prefab shelf there. A few bits and pieces on the wall. There's our doctor hanging out. Apparently wants to talk to me, but we'll leave him be. A little place to keep his notes. Yeah, not a lot of space in here, so we will manage though. One of the cool things about these doors is a mod or feature I'd like to see appear in 76. It's the mod that makes those doors close automatically. There you go, and hear it there. I do miss that. It would be great for 76. So rather than just dropping in an ordinary caravan stop, I've basically built my own using some raider tents that kind of extend over the hedge there a bit. Gives a bit of shelter from the sun and the rain. Not so much the rain, but there we go. And I've got an invisible mat on the floor that's supposed to serve as a caravan stop. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be functioning as nobody has yet turned up, but it is what it is. The idea is there, so they've got a place to hang out. This box on the floor here is actually a seat, which is cool. And a few extra bits and pieces just to dress it up. We'll shufty around here. Have a little look at this guard post. There's always a gap in the hedge here underneath this billboard, so I just thought we'll tuck some defences in here. Bit of a guard post. Close it off. And then we can have this guy here cover the road up from Covenant. Not Covenant. Concord. You can tell I haven't played in a while. Yes, I'm not chatting to this guy. There's a few bits and pieces around you can see I've deliberately left in, like the leaves here and stuff like that. And the bricks on the floor. Fridge here that is another interactable object. They'll come over and try and repair this. So adds a little bit of life and texture when you're doing that. When you're wandering around. Assuming my locals are not selling, which they are at the moment. Here is our clothing store. Limited number of clothing decorations, unfortunately, but it works. It's like the shopkeeper has disappeared. They're supposed to be right here. Whoop. Yeah, there's the drawback to the auto-closing doors. We'll squeeze around the corner here. As you can see, a few clothes on the shelves. Mannequin there dressed up. We've even got a little changing room. Little dressing room. So the curtain works much like the ones in 76, I think. They actually sit on the floor. The curtains rather than the knee doors. And that's a piece of conduit that I have carefully positioned in an attempt to create a railing for it, but it's a little challenging to get that lined up perfectly. Same with this bookcase on the top here. But a little ramshackle is in keeping with the rest of the building, so that's not too bad. We're going to have to imagine there's a lady in a green dress standing behind this counter, because unfortunately she seems to have taken a break. So, coming around the corner, a few bits of extra decoration. Here's a couple of water purifiers. These ones actually don't need to be placed in water. They're a modded version of it. But if you have got water to place them in, you can always then group select them out a bit. That's what I used to do before I had the mods. But these ones just go straight into the ground, so that's fine. A couple of floor pieces glitched in there, just provide a little bit of a walkway, a couple of buckets. Everything you need. Tools there to keep them running. So a few extra bits and pieces of junk fences and stuff lined up against this boxcar here. Would love to have these in 76. Just so that it gives it a bit more detail and sort of texture and life to it. This is our next sort of living space, bedroom space. Put another one on the front here with a bit of desk space and storage, just to add a bit more shape and interest to it. Nothing massive going on, but it's alright. Some of these railings are actually, you can't tell to look at them, but they're set up so that NPCs will wander over and just lean on them. Like that, just to give them a bit more interaction, which is cool. Yeah, modded. So a few little bits and pieces on the wall in here. I've squeezed together a little bed here. This is where our clothing vendor and Sheffield, who is my bartender, because I'm mean like that, live. I've basically decided that Sheffield has finally found love with the clothing vendor, and they've set up to live here, which is nice. I'm not totally mean to the poor fella. Still making him a bartender, though. If we come around here, we have one more person living in here as well, who is my doctor, I believe. I didn't want him sleeping there in the patient's bed, so... Not quite sure why he's got the Unstoppables flag, though. Because why not? That's why. Right, loads of little fire barrels. I do wish the ones in 76 work the same way as these ones, because the ones in 76 have a weird blue light to them. These ones at least are kind of orange, which would make sense. So this is kind of the section that started off the whole excess building thing. I wanted somewhere to have an adhesive farm. and I decided to build a kind of hydroponics scaffolding tower in order to grow everything. So I then kind of got carried away from there. Head on up. As you can see, we've got a little bit of glitching and rug glitching and stuff is required to get this stuff in, but we managed. Got the potatoes on the bottom. Technically, these are not getting watered, but it is what it is. They're not actually growing properly yet either because I haven't got enough people to do it, but we'll work on that. We can get the idea anyway. Pull them on the top because it's that tall it needs to go up high. But yeah, otherwise it was just a case of putting the potatoes in and snapping the frame on the top, which was absolutely fine apparently. The corn on the other hand needed rug glitching in because it didn't want to sit that high up. It's not actually too high, like it's like to get above the build limit, but it was just a bit temperamental. Most of the stuff down the side of the red rocket here is stuff that was already in place when I arrived. We've added a few extra bits and pieces as well outside this lower level of the hydroponics area. Got some red lights over the plants and some green just to mix up the colours, make it more interesting. Piper is currently hanging out here, so see she's working away. I'm going to add some Mr. Handys eventually. We'll progress on through. This lower level we can actually make our way all the way through. Come around the corner. I left the phone booth in for a bit more interest. Technically I don't think the robots can get through here, but I can, so that's the main thing. They can teleport onto the guard post. We've got a little wheelbarrow there. Just shoved the shipping crate there just to block that space up with because it was a bit big and empty. You can see we've got some extra walls just tucked against the edge of the legs under there. Just to give it a bit more depth and texture and also stop anything kind of running underneath it. Another modded item there. The support's actually manually created from individual pieces, but looks like the thing's going to stay more or less upright now. We'll take a little peek over the guard post here. This is just the standard one. I don't think we tend to get attacked from here, but there's the mole rat cave down there, so made sense to have a guard post in this corner anyway, cover all the bases and all the sides and stuff. Now from up here you can cover this edge of the wall if you need to, if anybody comes running up to it as well, which is always good. Piper appears to have become one with the tree there. A mute fruit. Loads and loads of junk fences. So you've got the wires coming down from the top there. That was a bit of a problem. This is an area I struggle to decide what to do with, but there's some cool stuff here nonetheless now. So we've got a few more guard posts and other bits and pieces tucked on here. Truck tipped up, that's another guard junk wall piece. A couple of Pulowski preservation shelters that have been turned into toilets. Very basic toilets, but toilets nonetheless. Seemed appropriate, given the standard of the protection that they provide is, yeah, about time. So, there's a little gap here. I decided to squeeze in a shower, which, if you happen to really be brave and want to go back in the dim reaches of the past and look at my old Ygritte Tours Marina build, I built a shower based on this principle back there. Just a slightly supported floor lifted off the ground. In this case with some warehouse walls. And we got some shower units in here. Pretty basic. The water can drain away. It'll do. It's wasteland living after all. This particular side was difficult to build on when I had to scrap everything on. I had to turn it off a couple of times to get things to sink in properly, which is one of those issues with it. I don't know if the updated version of that mod is a bit easier. You might want to investigate that if you're looking at mods to use. On the side of the red rocket here, we've got a functional kind of bike that you can repair. So hopefully NPCs will wander over and give that a bit of a fix sometime. Well, a few other bits and pieces just to add to the decoration and all. Had to use Place Anywhere to get that awning in, that tarp there. Fortunately, it doesn't want us to go quite that high, and I was having difficulty raising it up, so Place Anywhere served for that. And I just group selected these posts in to provide a little extra support at the front. That's from a really unpleasant mod to use, those posts. It's, I forget what it's called now. It's very much a dump mod of just all manner of assets that they could get their hands on thrown into a mod, and it's not great for your loading times on your build menus either, but there's a lot of bits and pieces in there that I couldn't find elsewhere, so it's kind of handy on occasion as well. As you can see, the guys hanging out here giving us a bit of defence. I put these spikes on the front because this wall and this defensive emplacement is pretty low to the ground, and anybody could just run up and wallop them. So the spikes there to keep them at a distance made sense. A few bits and pieces there. Put the fire barrel up on some bruise blocks and some metal sheeting so it doesn't burn through the bottom of this trailer. Having a bit of a job getting them to path over this section, because this particular guard post wall here doesn't have any collision on the top of it. At least not for NPC's sake anyway, it's not nav mesh. So I've done what I can, but they don't seem to want to cooperate, so it is what it is. Nonetheless, we do have a guard post here to supplement the one on that side if we need to. I had to put that extra staircase on there because I just couldn't get the robots to path up here, unfortunately, and they're not much use when they're down there. Nice and protected, but they're not going to protect the settlement very much. So the original idea was to have them come up this staircase here, but they wouldn't sort of path around the corner in the middle here, which is unfortunate. So here we have a little prefab cabin here, and this one I've just turned into a kind of guard post, guard house, confiscated materials place. So if the settlers need to run over, grab some arms and stuff, they can do. Some spare beds in here, some lockers and such. Pretty simple to do. There is a door on this, but it's kind of hard to get at, so it lives open now. So here we have Sheffield's Bar. Coming up on the side here, some red Slakeham's Joe, is it? Red Rocket? I don't know. Seating that we see all over the place anyway. These are all single items that you can just drop in, which is cool. And I don't think they're actually modded either. Although USO does rearrange everything, so it's kind of hard to tell. A couple of seating areas, these are modded. Gone for sort of 2 levels here, just make it a bit more interesting, and because we're on such a steep slope. A few railings there to protect. Nice roof up the top. That's all a single height because it was just easier and looked better. And here's Sheffield hanging out by his bar. You just shuffle him over a little bit further, I think, from the look of that. Doing good work nonetheless. Get down the steps without falling off. Nice. Swinging around the front. Shamrock Tap House sign. This one definitely is a modded item. Grabbed from downtown Boston. But it's nice and large, and it kind of covers up the front edge as well. Couldn't really get it on the top without a lot of faffing. Could have been done, but kind of breaks up that front texture a bit, which is nice as well. So I do like that. A couple of guard posts here again. We're back round to the front. That allow you to cover that entrance should anybody make it through the gate. These are actually functioning as guard posts as well, but unfortunately, nav mesh being what it is, it's not. You can't see any defenders standing on it, unfortunately. Again, this is the other guard post by the main gate. Same basic stuff. Try not to fall down holes. Easy enough to cover those if you need to, but so we've got the view out towards the sanctuary there. Sanctuary's kind of a dumping ground for everybody. I don't want a raid rocket at the minute. Mostly Preston & Co. and a couple of companions that I'm not using at the moment. Nice and ramshackle, but everything we need. We had a big gap here between the guard post and the ramp, so I just shoved a load of boxes and a car and a few other bits and pieces in here just to give it a bit of texture and a bit of life. This build budget, incidentally, now that we're coming back around to the start, is about 4 bars worth. I had to obviously use the glitch to reset it so that I could keep on building. Because, you know, one's never enough. So let's have a look at the actual truck stop station. Over here is where we have our robot workbench, and a little shout out to No Respawns. He did something of this style a long time ago, and has probably done it again since because it's a bloody good idea. So I borrowed that idea because where better to put it, really. So I've done my own version. Got a little floor piece that's just raised up with a couple of extra bits around the side to give us a little bit of extra space. A stair snap on the front. Little police railing to lead us in there. Can't really win on this. I've got some clipped in cinder blocks there into the ground to provide support, which are obviously clipping in, but if I didn't have them, then the railings would be obviously floating. So, yeah, no, what can you do? Skills are not quite as sharp as they once were with Fallout 4. So, yet more modded items, just bits and pieces all over the spot, just to add a little bit of texture, a little bit of decoration, a bit of interest. Most of these shells are pre-decorated from various mods. There's a few bits that I've added myself as well around. Everything you could need for your robot building enterprises. You can spare a robot brain head on the barrel there. And they do actually path quite nicely out of here and down these steps once they do a little pirouette in the middle, so that's fine. So on the front of the Red Rocket, as you see, I've put some windows in. that was another example of something that did require place anywhere, as can't rug glitch with snappable objects, or just snap together. And unfortunately, the collision was not getting successfully bypassed by just group selecting. So we've got to do what we got to do, but it looks good. Very careful placement, because on this left one, with it being that wide, I had to use 2 sets of windows overlapping. So careful placement to make those crossbars in the windows line up. But yeah, looks good, I think. A few other bits and pieces around that were originally here. Another mendable truck there, tucked under the front to fill up that otherwise blank space. Boarded up this door because it kept getting opened, and I didn't really want to use it anyway, so this is our front door. The bell just summons all my settlers if I need to gather them in one place to find somebody. So head on in. So tucked in this corner, got a little seating area, checkerboard going on, TV, Nuka Cherry sign. That one was already there, I believe. I just added a few little bits and pieces onto it. Yeah, dead simple, just tucked in there for a nice little seating area. Baseball bat in the umbrella stand, as you do. Hat stand by the door. Little radio as well. So have a little look around in here. This was the only bit I actually intended to build. Originally, anyway. That's just tucked all the workbenches in. It's one of the good things about Red Rocket. It comes with all the workbenches, so you've got everything you need at a low level. And we've got a decon arch in there. Most of the stuff in here is actually already here, and I just moved it around a little bit and made it static. But it works, makes for a nice bit of decoration. A couple of extra bits added in here and there, of course, as well. Winterized T45 there. So I don't really have a lot of options for skins on this one yet. A few extra bits and pieces by the armor bench there. Tidied up some of those tyres. Everything you could need, really, all the essentials. I don't even think I needed to put any extra lights in here, apart from maybe that lantern there. It wasn't too bad. Some of the places I did, some I didn't. For example, this one here does have a light kind of dropped into it. There's already a light source there, but it's pretty weak. A little locker here with a few extra bits and pieces tucked in. Get another prefab. But these are so well done, and there's so much variety. If you've got a good selection of mods, that doesn't matter that you're reusing assets like that. Doesn't look too generic. So I've got a few bits and pieces of place settings here that I just noticed are the wrong way around. Oh well, I don't look at it very much. Nick's hanging out in here. He's my current companion. Got to admit, one of my favourite things about the voice acting in this is some of the standards and the background stories to these characters are absolutely fantastic. None more so than Nick Valentine is a brilliant, brilliant character. Coming back to this game really does remind me of just how good it actually is. It has its faults, of course, but story and characters and world building and all that are absolutely phenomenal in Fallout 4. It's really nice to be reminded of that, which I knew was going to happen when I came back to it, which is part of the reason I did. So there's a cooking station. A little kitchen area. We've got a bathroom at the back here. So just pushed 2 of these walls together and slid them in there just to provide a bit of privacy for the bathroom. Another shower curtain there. Dog meat's hanging out. A lantern and a ceiling fan there. Modded item there with the sink, but just dropped in as a single item. This bathtub is technically usable, I think more by settlers than by the character, but gotta have a bathtub and a shower here. Mind you, judging by my height compared to the height of that shower, I don't think it would be particularly comfortable. You'd have to kneel down. We've got all the facilities we need here. Swing around into the bedroom, which I left the door off because I'd be constantly opening and closing it all the time. It'd be kind of annoying. A few bits and pieces on the wall. These are weapons that are either significant in some way to the character or from quests. So the laser musket at the top is the one you pick up when you meet Preston. The rifle in the middle is one I was lugging around for a little while, and that's Paladin Dance's reward there as well. I need to put some more bobbleheads on that stand. I picked a few up since then. One full magazine rack. Little bits of bedding and stuff tucked in there. I'm actually going to move the rest of my magazines down to home plate. I think I'll probably set up there as it's a more central location. A few extra flags. This guy's going to go railroad, as I've only ever completed the game with the Brotherhood, and only the once, so thought we'd take it down a different road this time. It's going to be cool. And there we go. Ramshackle, but built up and turned into a defended home settlement. So I'm quite happy with how this has come out overall. I say, I've not gone crazy on the junk decoration or anything like that. We've got a few moments here where you can sort of tell that the frame rate's starting to dip a little. And let's be fair, PS4 Fallout 4, the frame rate's not astronomically high to begin with, so I think this is quite far enough for that now. Managed to get plenty of detail and decoration in as well. Let's do a little loop around the back of this robot workbench. See some of the extra details that I added on around it, just to give it a little bit of life. The evening's drawing in now. We've had a nice long walk around this place. Really taking my time about showing you around this, haven't I? Oh well. That's not actually floating. I know it looks like it is, but it's just a weird perspective Fallout has on occasion. I'm getting a flashback saying that, because I remember issues from the dim reaches of the past that I had there. There we go. So the evening settles over our low-level illuminated settlement. We have a pretty nice view of a reasonably thoroughly complete settlement. A couple of updates still need adding, but on the whole, quite happy with this. Plenty of light and little splashes of colour around in the evening when you're here as a player, but it shouldn't attract too much attention from too far away with being overly lit up, which I quite like as well. So, all in all, decent bit of wasteland living for the northern part of the map. Swing back on out. And I'm going to have to try and figure out what on earth I'm going to do for a thumbnail, which could be a challenge on reflection. I'm sure we'll work something out though. So there we go. A Red Rocket truck stop. Not planning on doing a vast number of these, but you know, if I do build some places up, I may or may not do a little wander around like this as occasion dictates. But we're kind of waiting on the update for 76 at the moment. That'll bring camp slots. So rather than tearing down what I've got, I thought I'd hold off a bit on for that and show you this. It's a bit different and a bit cool and a bit of fun. So, thank you very much for watching, folks. I do hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed taking a step back into good old Fallout 4. So, if you're feeling brave and you want to check out some of my older videos, they're still up on the channel. So there's some old builds from Fallout 4 there. Obviously, the further back you go, the more you'll be able to tell you're going back, shall we say. But by all means, go ahead if you would like to. As usual, social media links, a merch store, and channel memberships are down below the video. If you're interested in supporting the channel in that way, it is very, very much appreciated. Really helps out. So massive thanks to everybody who's done that already. And of course, do drop subs and likes if you would care to. It also helps out a great deal, and I very, very much appreciate it. I do hope you joined us for one of the live streams as well. We are carrying on with Remnant from the Ashes because this final run at the last boss is taking a while, and of course, jumping back into the new update for 76 on Tuesday. So looking forward to that as well. For now, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.